Hey Stampin' friends, welcome to the Joy of Stamping with Rachel. I'm Rachael Coon and our Wednesday's kit class. Today I'll be showing you how to make two Easter projects, a card and a treat box using the Springtime Joy stamp set. Go ahead and hold while I flip and we'll get started. All right, let's see if you can see everything okay. I'm gonna just adjust this a little bit more real quick. Sorry you guys. It'll be for the best. There we go. That looks better. Okay, so those who are new to my Wednesdays kit class, welcome. What this class includes is I show you the project, and then if you order $35 worth using the hostess code between now and Friday, you get the paper items in this kit for free. I always suggest to grab the stamp set that I'm using, and then I have a couple other items on my blog that I would suggest you getting as well to complete this kit. One would be one of the inks that we're using, and the other one is this 3-pack of combo ribbon. All right, I'm super excited to show you the stamp set we're using. It's called Springtime Joy. I have to be honest, I didn't love this right away because I have so many Easter stamp sets. I was like, I don't need another one. But I saw some really amazing things with this one and had to share with you. We'll be using this cute little lamb for our card, the saying, the butterfly, and then we'll be using also the flowers, butterfly, and the cute little chick. All right. So our project, I have this very simple Easter card that I'll show you how to make first. Just like that. It has a nice little greeting inside. It has that great pink, hey Phyllis, glad you're here. And then I have this amazing little treat box that was made by a demonstrator named Karen. I wrote her name down so I don't forget. Karen De Laat, and she's a Dutch demonstrator. And she had a great video showing how to make this, both in English and in Dutch. And I loved it so much, so I had to share it with you guys today. I do want to show you this one first because it is the easier one. So we'll put this up in the corner as we get ready. And all of my measurements for these projects will be up on my blog and detailed photos as well for that box. So for this one, we're using the Blushing Bride card base, and I have it at our normal at the 4 1/4 by 8 and 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 right there. There's our card base. Then I went ahead and I have this piece of basic white embossed with that ornate floral. Look how amazing that is. And it's a 3D one, so you can tell that these flowers look like they are popping up. And I thought this would be a great one for spring. Let's go ahead and attach that now while we're here. And I would recommend using either glue dots or liquid glue, just so that way we can get into these nooks and crannies of the paper since we have it embossed. Okay, let's flip this one over. Just like that. I'm going to get it nice and lined up and let that dry. We'll set that aside and we'll get in our little piece of Blushing Bride. And this is a 3 by 4 piece. And what we're going to do is just take this cute little tulip flower and we're going to stamp it in the same color along the end, or the bottom, I should say. I'm using that Blushing Bride. Open that up. And let's get that stamped. Do you guys send out Easter cards? I love sending out Easter cards. I haven't always been an Easter card sender, but one year I decided to make Easter celebration more like Christmas celebration because it's just that important to me that we celebrate it. And so I started sending out Christmas cards. I send out Easter cards to my family and friends. All right, wipe that one clean. That one's good to go. I'm going to go ahead and remove it real quick so I don't forget because we're going to use it later for our next one. And then we'll put this ink. Well, actually, let's keep this ink out. Oh, I just made it fly across the table. 1 second, let me grab that. Check that out. Totally came off. Oh, no worries. Luckily, I can still use it, and I'll attach it back on later. All right, let's go ahead and grab our inside, which is the same size as our front of our basic white. And we're going to stamp it with our greeting. And there's a couple different greetings in this stamp set, but I'm going to go ahead and use that. Easter is a lovely reminder of new beginnings. And we'll stamp that up, or ink that up, and then put it right there in the middle. Press down. Oh, and look, I didn't do that very well. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this one over. Good thing paper has two sides. Make sure I get that nice and inked. And then we'll try again. Press down and lift up. That's way better. Awesome. Let me set that ink pad aside because I don't want to touch it. And I'll need to put it away later. All right, let's go ahead and attach this real quick while we're here to our card base. We'll grab just a little bit of the Seal and put it in each corner. Seal Plus is what I'm using right here. And there we go, in the center. We'll flip this one over. And, perfect. All right, let's go back now to our stitch circle. I use the stitch dies, stitch shaped dies, that's what they're called, because there's squares, circles, and ovals in this set. And we're going to use the largest circle. I'm going to grab my cute little lamb, and you could use a bunny if you like the bunny instead. And I'm going to grab my Memento ink. We're going to ink that up really well. Hopefully I'm not shaking the table too much. I'll try to be careful. There we go. Ink that up. I can see that it's inked on there. And we're going to put it right about here. I'm going to give enough room for my cute little butterfly. So I don't want it to be quite centered. And then I'm going to grab my little block and attach my butterfly to it. Go like that. And we'll ink that one up. There we go. Just put it right here like it's whispering to our cute little lamb. Perfect. All right. So next, you would have to grab your blends. These blends are so much fun, and I have a couple tips to help you when you are stamping or blending with images that should be white or could be white and still make them look awesome. Put the lid back on. Real quick, can we take a quick commercial? I have another card I want to show you that I got in a swap recently that uses the same stamp set, but it uses the cute little basket. They also use the beach paper instead for the background, which is super cute, and did a welcome spring. So there's lots of different ideas you can make with this one. Look at that basket. Isn't that cute? I love it. So I just wanted to show you that one also. There's lots of ideas if you're not loving the little lamb, even though he's so cute. All right, so I'm grabbing my light smoky slate, and I'm going to use my pen side. I'm going to go around my lamb. I don't know if you guys can hear that. My dog's playing with her squeaky toy in the background. Oh my goodness. I think it's just going to be one of those days, right? Flying ink pads, squeaky dog toys. So I'm just going around the images of the lamb. So I will avoid this whole leafy area and do the outside outline of the lamb itself using that light smoky slate. And this will make our white image look like it's colored in without actually having to color it, which is pretty nice. All right, easy, we got it. Now let's go ahead and color in our cute little flowers. So I'm going to grab our light purple posy. I'm just going to color in that first one right there. I love this purple posy, which is going to retire soon. And because it's such like a light bright purple. Perfect for spring. And then let's grab our So Saffron, and we'll color the next flower with this one. And I'm just using the light ones, and then on the edges that I want a little bit darker, I'm going over it again. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and color in our butterfly. Just like that. And in his little center. We'll finish that butterfly using the light pumpkin pie. And I'm just going to use the pen tip for this one and color in the little spots on there and his cute little body. Awesome. He also needs a little wink of Stella because he's a butterfly. And butterflies are supposed to be a little sparkly, right? There we go. It's hard to see there, but once I hold it closer, you can see it. And it adds just a great amount of detail. All right, we're going to go ahead and grab our light balmy blue and color this top one. There we go. If you want, you can color in your centers or leave them. I'm going to leave them just white, and I'm going to make this side darker on that blue one. So it looks like the sun's coming in on that side. And then our last color is our dark petal pink for our flower, just like that. And then I have a light petal pink, and for this one, I'm going to use it to make my cute little rosy cheeks on the lamb. I'm just going to kind of go in a circular motion until it's the size that you want, and just keep it very light. He's just blushing just a little bit. So cute. When I finish coloring it, I'll get this closer so you can see the whole thing. Now I'm going to do the dark soft sea foam as our leaves, and I'm going to use that little tip for the leaves since they're smaller. Go ahead and go around those. Just like that. I hope you guys are having a great day. It's been rainy. We had a rainy night last night here in California. So our grounds are all wet. But I'm excited for it to make it green up here. I love a green spring. All right, let's get that card base back in, and let me show you how this turned out. So you can see a little bit closer. Look how cute that is. So soft and gentle, just like a lamb, and our cute little butterfly right there as well. Let's go ahead and flip it over and put some dimensionals on the back. See, those blends weren't as intimidating as we thought, and since it's mostly a white image, we didn't have to color nearly as much as one would think. All right, let's attach now our little blushing bride that we stamped earlier. And this one, I will also use some liquid glue and get those on the outsides, giving yourself about 1/4 of an inch for it to squeeze out when we push it down. And I'm going to go just about the middle for this one. So I'll have the same top and bottom. And press. And it's the size that matches the 4 right here. And so it looks like it goes into our borders, which is perfect. All right, now let's attach our cute little lamb. Remove those dimensionals. And we're going to place it right there over those flowers. You just barely see them. And then we have, lastly, I have this little pink bow that I've created using this snail mail twine combo. And we're going to use a glue dot. And here are mini glue dots, which are the perfect size for these little bows. I'm going to go ahead and put my knot to the dot right there. And then I'm going to take my fingernails and I'm going to pinch it and squeeze it. And I'm going to just put it right here on the edge. Just like that. Super cute. I love it. Let me grab my bone folder and let's flip it over and crease that fold. There we go. And there's that super cute and easy Easter card. This would be a great one to mass produce without too much effort, but have enough cute factor to it. All right, you guys ready for that awesome box? Let me get it into view so you can see it. Let me go ahead and open it now too, so you can see what it looks like on the inside. So you can kind of understand it a little bit more. Well, just the ribbon slides right off, which is pretty fantastic. And then the box looks like this. You can see it's two-toned, and it's stamped on the outside and in the inside. And we have it glued on right there. This box is a double enforced box, and so it's super sturdy. And you'll see when we have the paper how much we cut it down. But it has a really quite a big size paper for it. All right, set that to the side real quick. And let me show you how to do the bottom first. All right, so what I've done, let me flip this over so you can see it better, is I have stamped all over on this Coastal Cabana piece of paper in Coastal Cabana with those 4 images, and then I've scored it. See, this is the front and the back. I've stamped on both sides of it. This measures at 9 1/8, and this measures at 8 1/4 on the bottom. I put this little Post-it note sticky so I would remember which was which, and it's pretty easy to tell because the center here is shorter on this side and longer on this side, which will be important when we start cutting it. To score it, you score it on all ends at 1 1/2 and 3. So you see I've created this whole grid sheet, it looks like, by scoring all along there. Then we're going to grab our paper snips, and first thing we're going to do is cut to the second score on the bottom and the top of the 8 1/4 side. Just like that. Just that cut there. And just cut right along that score line that we've created. And keep going. This would be a good time to push the fast forward button if there was one on a Facebook Live. Just the cutting part, but that's okay. If you are stamping along with me, gives you time to do it as well. That's what I do when I watch a video. I get all my supplies ready, and then I stamp along, and then I pause it when I need it. So I just went ahead and I flipped it over, and now I'm cutting the other side. And I have to show you something really cool with that stamps on the next one. So we have, this is a bottom, and then we have our purple posy lid as well. And I'll show you how I got these awesome stamped images on that one. Okay. So we're just going to keep on going all the way to this last one. There we go. So that's our first step, is to have all those cuts done. Next, we are going to remove our corners. So we're going to take this, and we're just going to cut off all 4 corners. Just like that, where our scores meet. Pull that one off. There we go. We'll do the same to this side. So I can loosen it. I might need to snip it one more time, the bottom half. There we go. And I'll remove this one. And our last corner over here. So when we get done with this step, we should have what looks like a plus sign. So that's what it should look like now. Is that awesome plus sign. Let me make sure. Sorry, I have the directions up on my computer for me so that I don't mess any step up, and they're not coming up. Let me try one more time. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Now that we're to this step, what we're going to do is go ahead and do wedge cuts on this tab here, or a miter, depending on what you like to call it. And you're just going to go about less than 1/8 of an inch in and just cut it up to that score line right there. And do the same on both sides. We're making what looks like little tabs, and this just makes it easier for when we're gluing things down for it to fit nicer. And we're going to do it on all the sides of the center. So go to this one and give it just a nice little wedge cut there. You're just kind of removing that score line. You can kind of see where it was left behind, where I missed it with my first cut. Just take that part off. I'll pull this out. There we go. And this one as well. when you're doing the wedges, you're going to start from the bottom and work your way to the score line at that angle. There we go. And one more for this one. And we'll get ready for our next step. Okay, so we have all those pieces now, corners missing, and we have our wedges on all of our sides. And next what we're going to do is go on these two pieces here, and we're going to start removing even more. So right here's that score. We're going to take it and go about either halfway or at least a quarter and just cut it all off. There we go. And we'll cut this one off. And this one all the way down here. There we go. And they don't have to be exactly the same size. Again, this is just for ease for gluing. I told you we started off with that big piece of paper and we're just cutting it all down. But we're making it so that it has all these great layers. Now that we've trimmed all those off, go back around and you're going to make those wedges like we just did for those other tabs. So you'll just go to each one and create a nice little wedge. Maybe cut that one off as well. Perfect. Oh, thanks, Tony. She said that was a cute sheepy. It really is. It's so cute. It's easy to color. There you go. Take that one. We're almost there. Let's go and wedge this one. I'm going to even this one out a little bit. I didn't cut that one very straight. There we go. And there. This box is pretty flexible as far as forgiving, and there was an exact measurement to make those tabs. Okay, now we are ready to assemble. I'm going to go ahead and take off our Post-it note because we don't need those measurements anymore, knowing what it is. And we're going to grab our bone folder and crease all of our score lines. So they're ready to go. It'll be easier to assemble. I love that this is stamped in the inside and the outside. That makes it so much more fun to me. And there's so many fun treats you could put inside of there. I was going to load mine up with something and I totally forgot. But cute like little mini eggs would be awesome in there. Like those little chocolate eggs. If your family is more of a fruit snack family, or gummy bears, those would be really cute in there. So many fun little treats. You can even put like a pair of earrings in here. That's how fun this box is. Okay. So now I have it all creased and I have it opened up, and this is the inside. So I flipped it over from where we were cutting, and I'm going to grab now my Stampin' Seal Plus because it's a stronger adhesive and it'll hold our box really well. And for our first step, what we're going to do is just put adhesive on these ends here, on these little tabs. There we go. And then we're going to fold these ones in, just like that. Crease it a little bit more. There we go. Then what we need to do is put adhesive on this tab here. So I'll just do a little bit there, and I'll put even some adhesive on this tab. And you'll see why in just a second. Okay, hopefully, let's see, get one more on this one. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do is now fold this up and put these tabs on the inside, and I'm going to grab this part here and line up my edges, just like that. And I'll do the same thing for this tab. Fold it in and stick it on there. That's why I need a little adhesive on this side as well to help me grab those tabs. And then this one, we'll go ahead and just fold it down in. And this is making this layer right here extra thick. So it's double thickness. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Put our little tabs inside and fold it up to make it meet on that corner there. And then we're going to have it meet also on this corner over here. There we go, maybe. Let's see if there's adhesive on this one. Push it in. Oh, there's not much adhesive on that side. I'm going to add a little bit more. So that way we can make sure these tabs are sticking in there. There we go. So we'll go ahead and line it up on our edges there. And line it up on this edge there. And then we'll fold that down. Awesome. This bottom's basically done. You're just going to take your bone folder and just kind of rub it on the inside to make sure it's catching all that adhesive we put on. And our bottom of our box is ready to go. Let's go ahead and set that to the side. And we'll get ready for our next step. This next step, it takes a little bit more time, and I'm going to show you some more details about how I did it. There's all my measurements there, so don't forget them. And we're going to grab our gorgeous grape ink, which Purple Posy does not have as matching ink. We had some issues with that ink pad before, and so we never had it come back as something for us to use. And so I recommend using the gorgeous grape because it's a little bit darker and it shows up really well. Now, what I've done with this stamp sets here is that I put all 4 on one block, and I kind of have them all kind of facing towards the center, so they'll look all kinds of matchy. Super fun. So let me grab our gorgeous grape, excuse the arm reach, and I'm going to ink it up. And I'm going to do one on the bottom here, like that. And then I'm going to move this one over, and I'm going to have it halfway on and make it like that. So they're all 4 in a row will be different. And then we'll just work our way all the way up and do the same thing. And they don't have to be perfectly lined up. They could be scattered. They're going to be all over the box. And as you saw from the last one, I really did cut off a lot of the paper. I have so many leftover scraps from that one. We'll do the same thing for the inside. So stamp that bottom. Don't you love this though? Look how fast I can stamp this once I have all of them on that one block. This was the tip that Karen had gave, and it was such a good one. And this would even make for a great background stamp, even if you were making a card with this even. Okay, so that's all been stamped. It's ready to go. Let me carefully close my ink pad this time and set that aside. And let's go ahead and show you how to score this one. This one's a little bit trickier because it is the lid, which is where all the magic comes. That bottom was pretty basic. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer in here. And I'm actually using my older paper trimmer because I want you to be able to see the score lines really well. Okay, so you can get there on our view. This paper right here for our Purple Posy measures at 5 3/8 by 7 3/4. So I already have that measured, which you can get 2 lids out of 1 piece of cardstock. You can only get 1 bottom though out of 1 piece of cardstock. And what we're going to do is score it now. So I'm going to take away my cutting blade, put it all the way to the bottom, and I'm just going to grab my lighter color, which is my scoring blade. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the short side is what it's called. So it looks like it's long because that's the way we're going to put it in. But this is the short side here, and we're going to measure it at 1.5. And then you could either be at 3 7/8, or you could flip it over and score it again at 1.5. I usually don't like messing with any of the 8s, the 7/8, the 1/8, any of those. And so I usually will flip it. So that's 1.5, and I'm going to score it, and then I'm going to flip it and score it on this side at the 1.5. Just like that. Okay, now we're going to turn it, and we're going to do 3 scores on this side. And we're going to start at the 1.5. And we're going to move it over to, let me see our notes, there we go, the 4 3/4. right there. And then we're going to go to 6 1/4, which is just at the very end of my trimmer here, like that. Okay, now we can take this out. And oh, actually we can't. I have to do one more. All right. So we've scored a little bit now. And there's one more scoring we have to do. So at the top here, I want you to notice the sides or the paper. I have 2 sections right here, and then this middle section, and then 1 section above. So this long section right here is where we're going to do our next score lines. We're going to start here at this, where these scores meet, all 4 lines meet here, and we're going to score it from this corner to the outside edge. We're going to do the same thing, but just opposite. So this is the right side, and we're going to score it down to the left. All right, and the best way to do this is to line it up carefully from your bottom score right there. And since this one's a little bit trickier to see, I'm going to do a little bit of filling with it to make sure that it should line up right about there. We'll take our scoring blade and move it up, and we'll stop right there in that center. Okay, take a look. Looks pretty good. And then we're going to do the same thing to this side, but instead we're going to turn it this way for our bottom to meet that score line on the our trimmer line, and we'll get this one. And this you can kind of see better when you close it as well. So I'm going to just turn this that way and make sure my bottom lines up for that score right there to about right there. And I'll score it up to that line. All right. So I have all of my score lines on there. Looks pretty good. And now we can start our cutting. So our first cuts for this one is going to be to cut from kind of like we did before. On our bottom here, we're going to cut all the way to that second line and cut this one also in. So grab your paper snips and cut on the score. Just like that. And this is on the short side, so that was the 5 3/8 side. Right there. We'll turn it and cut here as well. And on this one. All right, while we're here, we're going to turn it, and we're just going to remove this whole corner right here. So we'll take this corner off and this corner off by cutting it at the score. Now while I'm here, this is going to be our part that we attach to our bottom. I'm going to cut just a very straight line, just the tiniest little cut to the score. This is where we're going to stick it in to our bottom, and we just want to give it a little bit of wiggle room. So let me show you real quick. So if I were to attach this to here, I'm going to make sure that this is going to fit. So right now it's a little tight. I can go ahead and cut it just a little bit more on each end. There's no measurement for this one. It's just kind of a straight line and keep it fairly even. Okay, let's measure it for this one now. See if that's a better fit. That fits nice and snug. Perfect. Okay, so we've got that part done on our top, and what we need to do now is to remove the bottom here. So not all the way. We're going to do similar to what we did before, and we're going to cut it. Here's that score line. We're going to cut it to make our tabs. So about 1/4 inch in after the score, and we'll do that on the same side over here. And then we're going to create our wedge cuts as well. So we'll make a wedge on this tab right here. And a wedge on this side. And over here. Hopefully you guys can still see okay. My natural lighting is starting to go away. Our sun is getting ready to set here. There we go. Okay. Let me just make this one a little bit more straight for me. And then we want to do the same thing to this one. We're just going to make a cute little wedge. That side and this one. And mostly when I make these wedges, I'm just cutting off basically that score line that I had there, if I hadn't cut on the line. Okay, so this is what it should look like now after you've done those cuts. And now we're going to use our bone folder and crease all of our lines. So I'm going to flip it over and get those ready. Get our little tabs creased and good to go. And all the way in that way. This would be the time, if I didn't cut it well enough, I would know, and I can make any extra little cuts as well. So make sure that we're cutting it to that score. Okay. We also need to go ahead and crease that diagonal score we did earlier. So grab that bone folder. This is will be really good to use for this point. And do the same thing to the other side. Grab it and fold it in like that. Okay, it kind of looks like a paper airplane now. All right, let's grab a pencil. Let me see if I have one. Oh, here we go. You're going to grab a little pencil now, and you're going to go on the right side of this score and make a little line, just like that. You see? Then I'm going to go on the left side of this score. On the left side, go on the left side. And you're going to make another little pencil line, just like that. Then we're going to flip it over and open it up. And we're going to use that pencil line as our guide to cut to that corner score right there. I'll line it up. And I'll take off that piece there. And we'll do the same to this side. So grab our pencil marking, line it up, and cut it off to that score. Perfect. All right, now let me flip it so you can see it better. We need to put some adhesive on this part here. And we want this to be a strong adhesive, but we want it to be able to go exactly where we want it. So I'm going to use some tear tape on this part. And we're just going to grab a little piece on each end. And make sure you keep it on this closest to the edge as you can for this one. So one piece there. Grab another little piece and put it on this side. For the rest of the box, it's either the Seal Plus or some liquid glue at the very end. You guys are doing awesome for hanging out with me. I know this takes a little bit of time, but it's so cute. And once you make one, that goes a lot faster, I promise. My plan is to mass produce these. I have a spring boutique that I'm selling Easter goodies at and paper crafts. And so I'm going to make a couple of these. I'm not sure what I'm going to put inside of it yet, though. But I thought this would be a fun Easter gift to give. All right, making sure our backs are coming off. Okay, now go ahead and we're going to fold that down. And this one looks like it needs a little bit more trim. Let's see if I can get in there. We don't want anything over that score line. There we go. Because what happens, we want to make sure we can fold it up. So let me go a little bit more, in fact. There we go. Kind of messy, but not too bad. There. Mostly good. I'm going to make sure we do one more little trim. I just didn't trim it very well when I had folded over. Let's see if this one looks better. Yeah, that one's way better. Look at that. Nice line right there. Perfect. All right. So that should be good. Let's make sure both boxes sides can go up. Awesome. And now it's just like the other one. We're going to put adhesive on this tab here, and then we'll fold this in and attach it that way. So I'll put some adhesive on the top. And then we'll need some adhesive here on the bottom and on the top of that one. So we're going to put our tabs in, line up our sides, just like that, and line up this side. There we go. And fold this part in. Sure we got it. There we go. All right, so there is our awesome lid. Now what we need to do is make sure that's going to fit again. We'll size it up like that. Looks good. And now all we need to do is put some liquid glue on here. And we want liquid glue. Hold on. We have visitors walking in right now. Sorry, little boys. Oh, all right, liquid glue right here on this tab. I'm telling you, this is going to be the video for the books, but it's going to be my most watched one because of all of these fun bloopers and because this box is awesome. Okay, so we have this in here now, and we just kind of squeeze it to make sure that it is catching on there. We'll let this dry as that lid goes on top as I show you how to now finish up our little tag on here. So I've made this cute little chick, and you see that it's shiny. What I've done is I went ahead and I stamped it in Memento ink, and then I colored it with my blends, and then I went over with my Versamark ink pad, and I literally laid it like this, flat on it. So the whole thing covered Versamark, and then I put my clear embossing powder on there, and then I heated it up with my heating tool, and it gives that really nice, kind of like a lacquer look to it. You see that how it shines? I love that, and I thought it added so much. For this one, you want to make sure you have 2 circles because when we used our blends, on the opposite side, it shows through. We don't want that to show through on our tag, so we're going to glue our 2 stitch circles together. Just like that. Liquid glue is my favorite, so that's the one I recommend. For this, we'll squish it down together, let it dry for a hot minute, and then we're going to grab your tiniest little punch that you have, a hole punch, and we're going to line it above our little chicken's head and make one little hole, just like that. Perfect. All right. Next, what you'll need to do is grab your ribbon. I've used this awesome Flowers for Every Season combo pack ribbon. It has 2 other ones that also come along with this one, but this one's in the Just Jade, and it's kind of like that gingham look, which is really pretty. And in fact, the Just Jade, I've used Coastal Cabana, but look how great Just Jade and Coastal Cabana look together. They really do go super good together, even though they're not the same color. All right, we're going to layer ribbon down, and then we're going to kind of just eyeball it. I would say about 15 to 20, maybe 25 inches of ribbon. Go over here and we'll cut it and we'll make a pretty bow. So we're going to tie a knot, and we don't need this to be super tight because we want this to be able to slide under. And I've been working on my bow skills, so let me give you the tip. We're going to use this bottom of our bow ribbon right here. We'll make a bow out of it. Then we're going to come around the bow and to pop up on the other side with the other piece. And that should make a pretty bow every time. Oh, look how gorgeous that turned out. Let me just trim off my little end here to make it nice and flagged. And then we just need to attach our little tag. Just grab a little bit of your linen thread, maybe about 4 inches, not very too long. And snip it off. We're going to thread it through that little hole we created. This is where you could write your name or a little message on here if you wanted to. Let's see how, there we go. Phew, got it in there. Oh no, look, I threaded it too much. Let me go to the other side. This is where, if you're a seamstress, it would come in handy because you're used to putting thread through a needle hole. All right, then we're just going to go ahead and slide it underneath our ribbon right here and tie a little knot and cut off the excess. And that's how we attach our cute little chick. And like I said, you don't have to untie this bow every time you want to open the box. It slides off really nicely and comes back on really nicely. There's our little knot, cut off that excess. And we have our cute little chick that hangs out right there in our treat box. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching that with me. I know there was a lot of steps, but super fun. And we used and made these cards as well. Thank you again for joining me. Have a great week and happy stamping, everyone. Goodbye.